As mentioned, you are at the Microsoft Business Solutions General Session. Today we're going to teach you a little bit about what Microsoft Business Solutions is all about, show you some of those solutions in action, give you a little direction of where we're headed down the future, hopefully tell you where we can take you with Microsoft Business Solutions along the way. A couple of things I want to point to your attention. Once again, I am the fabulous Matt Gustafson. I work for the MBS Great Plains Division. Glad to be here at TechEd 2004. This is the first TechEd that MBS has had a strong presence, and we're glad that you're here to share this experience with us. It'll just get bigger and better over time, so we appreciate your investment in TechEd and being here. I want to point out the conference guide, the MBS guide. Everybody got one coming in. This is your roadmap to where MBS is here at TechEd. If you take a look through, you can see pretty much anything you want to learn about MBS is in this guide. It'll point you right to the sessions you're going towards. Most of our concurrent breakout sessions are in room 4, which is just down the hall. You probably passed it getting here, so you won't want to miss that. Again, just a raise of hands, how many people were at the welcome reception, MBS welcome reception last night? A few people out there. It was a great time. We had a lot of our team members here. MBS does have a pretty strong contingent of team members. A lot of them are gathering around Cabana number 1. How many of you been to the Cabana? It's down in the big room. If you've got a question about MBS, you want to see a demo after the show today, if you have a card you want to drop off and have somebody get in touch with you, get to the Cabana. We've got that thing staffed. We've got hands-on labs going on all week. There's a lot of MBS activities that you can get involved with, and we encourage you to do that. If nothing else, pick up, and we do have them. I just gave one out not too long ago. We do have, see if I can bring them up here, the baseball cards down there for everybody that's working from MBS here at the show. Everybody's got their own baseball card. It's got their email on it, so if you talk to somebody and you're not sure who they were, head on down there, look through the baseball cards, learn a little bit about them, and they've got their picture so you can kind of identify, oh, I was talking to that person. Pick up a whole set. You can trade one fabulous Matt G for 2 Satya Nadellas. I don't know what that means. I probably shouldn't have said that. Let's see, what else did I cover? The Expo, that's another good one you should talk about. We do have several booths at the Expo. You're going to want to take advantage of those as well. And the hands-on labs, some of those have already started, some of those are ongoing, so you're going to want to take advantage of those as well. With that, I think we'll get into the meat of our session this morning and bring to the stage one of our corporate vice presidents at Microsoft. He has been a longtime Microsoft veteran on many, many different teams. He has been leading the development team at MBS now for a long while. He is knee-deep in everything that we do, and he is here to lead us through the MBS world. Please welcome Satya Nadella.
Let me switch on my thing. I tried to convince him that we should go with a cricket theme, but I guess that would be for a different place and a different time. But welcome, and thank you very much for taking the time to be at TechEd as well as at the Business Solutions kickoff session. When Matt had the show of hands at the beginning, it looks like we have a mix of crowd, people who are sort of very, very new to Business Solutions. This is perhaps the first presentation. And then there are those of you who have been to our tech conferences before and are coming to a Business Solutions session for the first time at TechEd. Right up front, I'll sandbag it a little and sort of apologize to both sets because for somebody who is coming at it for the first time, some of the presentations, some of the demos are going to look like fairly deep and narrow. And the folks who are coming here for a specific product, there were a lot of folks who said they wanted to get to the details of Great Plains 8.0 and see more of the product. We will probably not do full justice to the detail, at least in this keynote. But besides this keynote, we have around 20-odd sessions where you will have an opportunity to get into the details depending on the product of interest, as well as we have hands-on labs and so on. And then we have our team members, as Matt said, to be able to really do one-on-one conversations with you to get into the details of a product. All that said, the real purpose of my talk here is to really set the stage for what is our long-term roadmap. Microsoft having gotten into this business, what are the broad themes that are really driving our roadmap? Steve, in the earlier keynote, I guess, referenced a couple of our product lines and said, hey, Microsoft Business Solutions has multiple product lines. We're also building next-generation applications and what have you. But what's really the commonality between some of these product lines we have and what's really the vision that's driving these from an ongoing basis? So that's going to really be the purpose of my talk. I wanted to start off by just talking about how we as Microsoft view business solutions. It's one of the 7 businesses. It's one of the newer businesses that we've gotten in through acquisitions, acquisition of Great Plains and Navision. That was a significant investment. We have over 1,700 people or team members in our R&D group, which is spread across multiple sites. We have people in Widbeck in Denmark who came from the Navision side. We have folks in Fargo, North Dakota, and then a significant number now even in Redmond, Washington. So that's kind of what we've been able to inherit through the acquisitions. The other salient point here is that you will see a lot in the demos we do, in the references we make throughout the presentation, that the R&D budget, so to speak, if you wanted to sort of really quantify what's Microsoft Business Solutions R&D budget, there are these numbers I talked about, but really you have to sort of look at the overall spend Microsoft has, because I think hopefully by the end of this presentation it will become abundantly clear that it's just not what we spend in MBS on a given product line on something like Great Plains or Navision or CRM, but we do take advantage of and through this theme of integrated innovation that Steve talked about with the rest of Microsoft. The other point I think I should make is, although this is a new division for Microsoft, we do have a lot of experience, again, through Great Plains and Navision. We have a lot of customers like yourselves and partners like yourselves who give us a lot of feedback. It looks like we even got some feedback on the CRM SDK already. But so we have a lot of folks who are giving us feedback on an ongoing basis, and that's really good. So it's not as if Microsoft's getting into this business and starting ground up and no footprint, so to speak, and most importantly, no feedback loop. All that's there. It's very vibrant, and what we will see us do is kind of very much driven off of that feedback. So with that, just to sort of set the context for the rest of the presentation, the first question to ask is, okay, great, Microsoft's gotten into this. You definitely were not the first to get into business solutions. You got in through acquisitions. What's really unique about your strategy? What is your strategy, and what's unique about it? First of all, I think we should clarify, I think the title of this presentation had small and medium. And that's pretty much it. We are focused on small and medium-sized businesses. I won't get into the market research side of it and try to define, because it's one of those things, maybe some lawyer will depose me to define it for some lawsuit that's happening. But nevertheless, we're really focused on all the lower end of the marketplace of business solutions, which we believe is underserviced. This is where we feel that the opportunity is huge, but as well as the challenges are also huge. In fact, strangely enough, software can make more of a difference at the lower end of the business solutions spectrum, if you will, than the higher end of the spectrum, where perhaps you can throw more bodies at it to just fix issues. So that's where it is. Our design center, everything we do is all about the small and medium-sized business, their IT needs, and their business application needs, and trying to really bring those together. Then when it comes to, okay, what's really our strategy, I would say there are 3 things. The first thing is, I think Steve emphasized this quite a bit in his keynote, which is we're a platform company at the end of the day. We've gotten into business solutions, clearly a step in the direction of more applications value from a Microsoft perspective. But you will hopefully see throughout this talk, as well as our actions in our product, that at the end of the day, we are a platform company, and it's not sort of just a set of words that, okay, we are a platform company, therefore we should all sort of in every keynote say we're a platform company. There is no such thing as a canonical business application, right? So there is such variation between geographies, between verticals, between industries, between even specific categories of business applications. So therefore, if you do not, or we do not enable change, or we do not enable a rich development environment around our business applications, which only comes by thinking about what we are producing, not just as an application, but as an application that is supported by a rich development tool set, we're not going to achieve success. So that, I think, is sort of one of the fundamental things around being a platform company. And one of the concrete steps we've taken to really make that come true is we've moved actually around 350 of our team members out of our R&D team into the Visual Studio team. And you'd say, why did you do that? One of the things that we realized after the Great Plains and Navision acquisition is Microsoft's been producing SQL Server, Microsoft's been producing Windows and Office and what have you. But nevertheless, each one of these ERP companies that we acquired had their own platform teams. They had, anywhere between 100, 150 people in each one of those companies working to build runtime extensions, building forms engines, building data access layers. And then you ask yourself, why were they doing that? They were doing that actually to fill gaps in our mainstream platform. And therefore, what we have done is taken a lot of that bandwidth and IQ in our teams and really made it part of the overall Microsoft platform so that in subsequent releases of our runtimes, in the subsequent releases of our tools, we really have those layers of technology that we need as business application developers and users. And I think that's a very, very positive step because it will sort of really help us not deal with these two different worlds. There is the world of Microsoft platforms on which some folks build applications, and then there is these narrower platforms for business applications. But beyond that, there are two other things. There is integrated innovation and compelling differentiation. So let me talk about integrated innovation. Perhaps this slide in some form was there even in Steve's talk. To me, this integrated innovation is more than just that phrase, because at some level, my team really walks the walk of integrated innovation, and that's just simply by the fact of where we sit on the stack. If you really look at it, we are building on everything in our client, everything on our server. We are even integrating with Office, so you will see a lot of the demos today reference all these other assets. And it kind of comes back to this theme of if you really want to make a breakthrough with small and medium-sized businesses, you first have to sort of build applications that really integrate with the IT infrastructure. So a lot of small and medium-sized businesses that are deploying Windows on the desktop or our servers are places where we install. So there is things like setup and configuration and installation at a bare minimum that all of you would expect us to sort of really do a better job so that the total cost, if you will, of deploying business solutions comes down. But that's just really the beginning. The thing that is perhaps the most exciting prospect for us going forward is twofold. One is this sort of statement I made earlier. There is no such thing as a canonical business application. Every business application is different by vertical, by industry, by location, as well as it's different in time. Because once you've deployed it, it's not as if your business processes do not evolve. And that change, or that amount of change can only be managed if you have rich tools. So that's where the Visual Studio integration, that's even where the Access integration or Microsoft Access integration come to bear so that you can generate the reports, your forms, your business logic using standard, mainstream Microsoft tools. So that's one side of it. So development environments that Microsoft is investing in and bringing that to bear for business applications. The second side of it is business applications are really not used in isolation. In fact, you will see us make a lot of references to this trend. Anybody who's using an ERP system, taking orders or entering orders, also perhaps deals a lot with Microsoft Office. There are very rich crossover scenarios between what is happening in Office and what is happening in business applications. So if we start taking a more holistic look at what these scenarios are and then building solutions that really don't show the seams between Office and Microsoft Business Solutions. So those are the things we mean. That's what we mean when we say integrated innovation and bringing these applications together with the other Microsoft assets. So that's fine. You saw this slide in Steve's talk because at the end of the day, it's all good to sort of talk about how we as Microsoft will bring Office in Business Solutions, we'll bring Visual Studio in Business Solutions, but what are Business Solutions? Because at the end of the day, you as customers and partners are investing in buying an ERP system, a CRM system, a supply chain system for specific business functionality. And we understand that. In my presentation today, perhaps, I won't get into the depth of functionality, for example, we are adding around pick, pack, and ship in Great Plains 8.0. Or around light manufacturing in Navision, or around complex process manufacturing in Exapta, or what have you. But that's at the end of the day what we're in the business for. We do have people in our R&D team who sort of live and breathe domain, live and breathe functionality by those categories, and that's at the end of the day what we want to bring to the marketplace. But the way to really think about our broad roadmap or the general R&D themes that are driving all of our different product lines is these 5 design themes or design pillars, as we like to think of them. There's empowered users. That has to do with really bringing all constituents, customers, partners, employees, to be able to use the business application. I'll talk a bunch about this, so that's the first pillar. The second one is, how can we make business applications much more insightful for the organization? At the end of the day, how do we make people as well as systems really driven by the collective intelligence that is being driven off of the business processes in the business application? How do we connect business applications to the various constituents who may be even outside of your organization? For example, how do you do communications in a much more streamlined way with your distributors and suppliers? Adaptive process is perhaps one of the more unique things for business applications, and this is all around how do you manage change in time for any given business application deployment. And then the last one is kind of the cornerstone, because you have to sort of say, well, if you add a lot of features and a lot of functionality around empowered users or insight or connected, all that's great, but you have to bring it home with a total cost of ownership message and an ROI message so that small and medium-sized businesses can get the maximum out of their investment. So those are the broad design themes. And when you say, well, those broad design themes, how did you come up with this? We for sure did not make these up. We really done a lot of primary research, and for any customer or partner who is sort of even interested in some of this, I'd be happy to take that even offline and share some of this research with you folks, because we've, since the Microsoft acquisition, or since the acquisition of Great Plains and Navision, one of the things that we've collectively done is take all of the customer data, the customer knowledge that Navision had, Great Plains had, as well as Microsoft, and built a model of customers. You'll see us refer to what we call personas. These are sort of end-user aggregations or roles, which are built from a lot of data that we have collected over the years from our customers and partners. So we have actually 25 user roles that we focus a lot on: a controller, an inventory clerk, or an AP or an AR clerk, a warehouse person, or what have you. So we have these 25 roles. We have even archetypes for different types of businesses, both by size as well as by industry. And we are also collecting a lot of information around departments, because one of the things we notice is that based on the organization, you may have a lot of different changes. So there may be a 250-person company, but your finance department may be just 5 people. Or you may actually be just 20 people, but you may have 10 people in finance, just depending on the type of business. And depending on the organization, your structure, there is a lot of variation. So we've really built what I would say is a pretty sophisticated model around personas or roles, around archetypes or the types of businesses, as well as organizations and departments, based off of all of the customer input we have gotten so far. And this is an ongoing system. It's not about, like, let's do 10 customer visits and then build the next product. It is about being able to really collect all of the information we have and use that to drive our roadmap on an ongoing basis. So that's what these pillars are based on. The way these pillars manifest themselves are going to be in terms of releases for each of our product lines. It is absolutely a challenge for us that we have multiple product lines. But at the same time, it also is a strength of ours because these product lines, although overlap significantly, because after all, some of these product lines competed with each other, one of the things that they do still have is unique features in each one of these product lines. Anybody who says all ERP systems are built the same, we can absolutely disprove that by just looking at our product portfolio. Exapta grew out of a focus around manufacturing. Navision grew with a focus around distribution. Great Plains around financials and as well as service businesses. Same thing with Solomon. They really thought hard about project and what project scenarios needed to be enabled. So there is specific vertical, specific industry, specific geographic considerations that went into the original data model design of each one of these applications. At the same time, they all have financials, so there is overlap. But the way we are going to differentiate going forward is to take the strengths of each of the products that exist and embellish it, but at the same time share a lot of common themes, which also means share a lot of common code, which also means share a lot of common technology around these 5 design pillars. So you'll increasingly see us invest in these 5 design pillars as a way to drive our product lines forward, not to the exclusion of what these product lines already have as inherent strengths, but as a way to really take advantage of technology to drive more value out of these products. So today's presentation, I'll talk more generically and we'll give examples, but it won't be product line specific, but I want to really stress the point that a lot of this innovation will show up across the next couple of years and next couple of releases across different product lines, but with different vectors based on which product line makes sense for which vertical or which industry or which geography. So with that, I actually wanted to get to the first of the design pillars, which is empowered users. To really get a sense for this is, this was perhaps one of the most striking things when we did customer research that we were hit with. Business applications, we've had a fair amount of success. We have a lot of huge install base in the mid-market. But when we really looked at the share of usage within any given company of our application, or for that matter, any competitive product, or when we even look within Microsoft of usage of business applications, it is just a very minuscule number of people within an organization that touch a business application. Although everybody knows that they're sending invoices or they're dealing with shipping products or taking care of customers and what have you. But most users within an organization perhaps are using Office, perhaps are using other applications, but they're not really using business applications. And that's a huge challenge. I mean, how can you ever think about really realizing the full value of an investment at a customer site if most of the users in that customer site are not even touching a business application? So that, if you start with that, one of the first things we should be able to do is really make applications, business applications, easy to learn. So we've focused a lot on that, and we'll talk about that. The second thing is that you have to make business applications. I mean, business applications by definition are very form-centric. For a reason, because they were built for heads-down usage. So you had an order entry person, or you had a APAR person who was just going in and really having a complex form that they were very rapidly using to enter transactions. Makes a lot of sense. It is what a lot of our users are comfortable with. But when you start talking about bringing in everybody in an organization to use a business application, you have to start personalizing the interface more to the role, making the process of data entry and data retrieval much more task-centric, so that you can actually guide users through what needs to get done. So that's another huge push for us, as well as self-service, which is it's not as if everybody may have access to the rich client. You may want to have customers come in. You may even have employees change their own HR data. And all of that has to be done through self-service. The last piece, which is, I think, one of the more interesting innovations in this area that's perhaps unique to Microsoft, I think this morning's keynote had an IW Bridge, or Information Worker Bridge demo. I think it's called I think it's IBF is what they call it. It's basically a simple theme. It's about the theme of really bringing the structured world or the transactional world of business applications and relating it to the unstructured world of, say, document management or email or basic communication. Because at the end of the day, it's not as if documents are getting created in vacuum, or you're not communicating to customers and partners in vacuum. You're actually doing it in the context of some order, in the context of some customer inquiry, in the context of some customer case with your support or what have you. So wouldn't it be nice if we can relate those two worlds of information exchange and storage such that any particular user who uses those two applications need not actually make the tie-in or the relations in their head, but they can actually have software really help them. So this is another big theme for us, and I think that there are some simple wins we can get, but at the same time, I think this is a place where you'll see us innovate going forward. To sort of give you a feel for, are we walking the walk, so to speak, on these empowered users? Is this something which is some grand dream in the future, or is this something that we actually can see today? Even throughout the presentation, this is kind of how I will do it, which is I'll talk about sort of the design pillar, what it really means in its most efficient form, and then how are we making progress towards that goal, even with releases that are coming up this year. So when you talk about empowered users, the first thing that we've done is really take this familiar user experience concept and really built Office-like look and feel. At the end of the day, Office is this ubiquitous application, especially when we think about small and medium-sized business. We've looked at, for example, an order entry clerk, and we've really done even anthropological studies of these folks. And you look at, we have this one wall within one of our R&D sort of groups where they've pasted photographs of all these folks at work. And you'll notice that for most part, you would think that they're sitting down on a heads-down user interface. They do. They do have some sort of forms interface with one of our applications or anybody else's. But they also have manila folders lying around. They have stickies around their computer. They also have Outlook open in many, many cases. So the question is, okay, all that's being used, so how do we truly make that very productive? And one of the first things we said is maybe sharing the design between Office as well as Microsoft Business Solutions applications would be a good starting point, and we will see us innovate. We've done a lot of usability around it. In fact, we've gotten good feedback of things not to do. If you take a heads-down user interface that somebody likes for order entry and try to make it a very click-oriented thing, it's not going to work. So we recognize that. So there are things that we want to really achieve here, which bring in new users, not alienate current users of business applications. And that's a key place. I'm sure we'll get some of this wrong, and we will get feedback from you, and then we'll get better at it. And the other point was, it's just not an Office design applied blindly, as I said, but it's also to be able to take advantage of certain tools that are there in Office. For example, if you're doing forecasting, it turns out a lot of our customers do use Excel for forecasting or analysis. So how can we actually explicitly use a tool that they're familiar with for a specific task, and then have the data, though, reflected in the ERP system and the ERP data model? So the demand planning solution, for example, that we have in both Navision and Great Plains is an example of that. The next space is the role-based task-centric self-service. We've really built our portals across all of our product lines to be examples of this type of interface. Business Portal for both Great Plains and Solomon is an example of that, and we'll shortly see a demo of that. And then from the bridging of structured and unstructured work, the CRM team's done the most innovation as far as really being able to bring Salesforce automation to Outlook. Again, it's one of those places where we're learning a lot in terms of performance of the Outlook client in order to really make it possible for Salesforce automation to work within Outlook, and that's something that we will improve going forward. But beyond that, even with the Business Portal, the fact that Business Portal is hosted on SharePoint or WSS, you now can have crossover between some document management applications as well as the transactional world. And a good, perhaps, example of this is Sarbanes-Oxley. Just think about Sarbanes-Oxley for a second. If you sort of think about it, for most part, it's a document management problem, because that's what it is. It's about regulatory compliance in terms of the documents you create and the processes that you use to manage the creation of those documents. But beyond that, you need to be able to have evidence, which is all in your business application. So how do you really bridge those two things with a SharePoint-like solution? So we've done some work on that. So to sort of really show some of this in action, I'll bring Matt G back on stage to show you both Great Plains 8.0 as well as the Business Portal 2.5.
Thank you, Satya. As mentioned, we were going to hop right into looking a little bit of how we have empowered users using, in this case, the Great Plains 8.0 application. Some of you may have seen this before, but similar research and similar features, as Satya mentioned, are going across all of our product lines, from Exapta to Navision to Solomon, CRM. We're all building on that same research, and some of those themes will come through on a lot of these. First thing you're going to notice on Great Plains 8.0 is it looks like another application that most of you probably recognize, Office 2003, right down to the navigation pane on the left-hand side. It's got the cascading menus that most people would mostly recognize. It's got toolbars across the top. If I wanted to customize a toolbar, where do you think I'd probably go? I'd probably go down to Toolbars, Customize. Lo and behold, things look like they do in Office. Why is that important? It's important because then your users are not dependent on your IT staff or a partner or someone else to teach them how to use the system. They can go do value add right away by just hopping right on in. If you want to go customize the navigation pane, it works just like Office. You go in and say, I don't want to see inventory anymore. Boom, inventory's gone. Those types of things you'll see throughout. If I wanted to go and view where my reminders were, well, let's see, I'd probably go up to the View menu, and sure enough, there's reminders. What are reminders? Again, empowering users to make decisions on their own includes adding features. We heard Steve talk about that today, that bring data to their fingertips and help them manage their lives better. In this case, we've got a new reminders window in Great Plains 8.0 that'll tell me as a user things that I need to do in my system. If I look here, I can see that, oh, I've got a rent expense batch that's overdue. Click on the expense batch, go on over here to batch entry. I can go look at it, I can post it. I'm one click away from going from being alerted that something needs to be done to actually taking action. If I have another one here, if I've got a recurring backup, I can go in and set up tasks for that. I can go in and change my reminders to show me overdue invoices, overdue payments. Again, driving users to make those decisions securely from their desktops. I've got another one here I've noticed that's to call Bob back about an order from some phones. I remember I got this call yesterday. Bob's a customer of mine. He wanted to order some phones. I can't remember which Bob it was. So why don't I take advantage of that new interface that we were talking about and go down to my sales lists. I'll pull up all my customers. There's my customers. I can see them all. I just want to go find Bob. So we'll run in and say, oh, these are all my customers that have Bob somewhere in their site. I see that I've got a Bob as a contact. I've got Bob as an ID. These don't have Bob on them, so let me go see if I can figure out exactly why Bob's showing up for those. A little odd. Okay, Bob was in the address, and Bob was in the city. So cross-searching across multiple columns, letting SQL do the work for us, again, to get work done faster. Another thing I want to point out while we're here in the list is how easy it is to go and get additional information from these lists. If I want to go and view all the transactions, let's say for this customer, I'm one click away from looking at all of the lists or all of the transactions for a customer. If I just want to see the things I did last week, I'm one click away from that.
It's the task-centric.
It's all, again, like you mentioned earlier, it's a task roles-based almost feel to this entire interface. Go back to customers again and just take a look at my Bob customers. I mentioned earlier Bob wanted to order some phones. We'll just go in and let's see. Normally I'd have to go and search through the toolbar, search through the navigation to find it. Again, task-based navigation tells me that I probably should be able to just do that right from this interface and say I want to go create a new order for Bob. Voila, I'm into the order entry screen. Brings us to, I can show off another really neat feature that we've stuck into the Great Plains 8.0 product. That being how easy it is to go in and show you if you've got quantity available. Most of you that are familiar with Great Plains will recognize this window. It basically means I tried to order 28 phones for Bob. I don't have 28 phones. It's telling me that I've got a shortage. What do I want to do with it? As most ERP systems, there's at least some information available, but I want to get a little more detail. I want to give Bob a few options here. So I'll go to the new quantity available. It'll show me my available to promise inquiry. That it'll tell me that, okay, Bob, I've got Bob on the phone. I can tell him, Bob, I've got 26 in available, but actually 8 of them are back ordered for somebody else, so I really only have 18. I can get you 28 of them on the 21st, or I've got a few more coming in on the 28th. I can give options at the desktop to my users so that they can help provide better customer service. That's the sort of thing we're talking about when we're talking about empowering users through software. Take another look now here at another application that Satya mentioned, and that is the business portal. How many folks in this room have seen the business portal before? This particular portal is working on our Solomon and Great Plains products. We've got similar portal stories on Navision and Exapt as well. As you can see from the portal, I'm running right out of a browser. Why is it important to realize that? Well, I have zero client-side deployment when I'm running the portal. I'm driving information out to the customers or employees in my business that need to get information, but I don't want to actually set up the entire accounting system for them. I can set up, I've got inventory pages where I can set my inventory clerks up for. I've got purchasing. If I've got purchasing agents, they can go in and look at all of the purchasing tasks. Securely wrapped up behind the firewall, everybody's got just the information that's available to their fingertips. Let me go up and pull up sales, and we'll take a look at just what a typical business portal page looks like. In this case, we're looking at, again, our customers. And how many of you have loaded SharePoint, looked at SharePoint? This is SharePoint. You're looking at it right now. This is SharePoint. Business Portal is built on top of that particular piece of technology so we can take advantage of the web parts available across the SharePoint family. Some of you in this room are probably developers who are building web parts for the SharePoint ecosystem. Those can all be taken advantage of in Business Portal. And I can move columns around. I can sort. I can link them together. So as I scroll through one web part, you can see that they're changing over here on the other side. And then as an administrator, I can customize each page per site. Or as a user, I can actually go in and customize those things that I can see. We'll go in and pretend that I'm a sales manager. I can go and look at all of my salespeople that I'm assigned to. I can go on in here and sort them and do whatever. But let's say I wanted to get a little more summary information. I'm going to go on to this page and just go in and create a summary web part. I'll show you how easy it is to go from detailed to summary. Go into our web page gallery. Again, Business Portal ships with many of its own web parts built in. We can also take advantage of Office web parts if we want to, or any other SharePoint parts that we want. We're going to drag total commissions, which is a query that I've built to just pull up the total commissions for my salespeople. We'll pull that onto the page, and as we can see there, my salespeople are going to start to show up. I'm also going to make a chart and a graph here. I just want to show you how easy it is to mix and match Business Portal entities with other SharePoint entities. Pull up, and let's see, we'll pull out a pivot chart from Office. This one just is part of the Office suite for SharePoint, taking advantage of that whole stack. One of the things Satya mentioned earlier was how we wanted to innovate, innovative integration. It's hard to say this morning. And this is another example of where you're blurring the lines between applications. You don't know if this is Office, you don't know if it's MBS, you don't know which particular app it's coming from, but you do know that it's working and I can get data back and forth. So we're going to go in and get data from that total commissions web part that I just added. And voila, I have officially now, grab all the data, finish. I have mixed and matched a Business Portal entity and web part with, scroll down here, take a look at it, an Office web part. It was just that simple. We'll go on here and show the fields. We'll drag them over. And this one works just like you'd expect. It's very, very much Excel-based. Voila, the data is there. I can go in and sort them. I can do whatever this particular web part allows. Make it pretty. Let's go in here and, oops, come on here. Shut that down. Go in here and make it 3D. There we go. No one should ever have a 2D graph. There we go. So anyway, that's how simple it is to modify a page. And again, I can do this as the administrator, or I can drive that customization down to the desktop. Secure all across the board because we built security into the back of this thing. We want to make sure that you're only getting to the data that you're able to see. Satya mentioned earlier Sarbanes-Oxley. This is more of a US-centric. How many people have heard of this or been affected by Sarbanes-Oxley? Most of our medium to larger customers have. This is the epitome of combining structured and unstructured data. The Office team has created the Sarbanes-Oxley Accelerator, and we're going to take a look at that right now. It's very easily hooked into the Business Portal. As you can see, I'm already there. We're going to go into the control environment, and this is all about documenting our processes, risks, and controls for an organization. And if we go down, let's just take a look at some of the finance documents that we can look at. If I go into the cache, you can see that there's there's different rules and processes around that for Sarbanes-Oxley, which is all great and wonderful, and Office provides all this. Wouldn't it be great if we could also go in and show some evidence, pull some evidence back from the back office? And if we go in and we can see that, yes, we can hook up from over here and say, what makes up my cache for Sarbanes-Oxley reporting? That'd be nice to know right here. And there it is. And I can hook up business portal queries. I can hook up other pages. I can hook up KPIs, which are key performance indicators. Anything that's in the business portal, if it's relevant to Sarbanes-Oxley, can be managed back here. So again, the combination of putting all of that information at the desktop so you don't have to go about hunting it down in 13 different places. Another thing that we wanted to point out this morning is how easy it is to drive the right application through a web interface as opposed to having the rich client loaded everywhere. And one of those, a great example of that is requisitions, because not everybody needs to have the full rich client ERP system available just to create a requisition to go buy something. So we've got that right here in Business Portal 2.5, where I can go in and let's say I'm going to order a new computer for somebody just started. I had this happened a couple months ago. I ordered one, so I just want to make a copy of that requisition. I can go on in here and just say I want a new computer. Spell it right. Hit submit, and now that is into another thing that's very exciting about Business Portal 2.5, and that's the workflow. So now this requisition, through a simple web interface, has found its way into the ERP system. It's now part of workflow, so my manager, the purchasing agent, can go in and approve that, and the next thing you know, we've got a computer showing up. Driving the right information, the right tools to the right users. That's what we mean by empowerment, and you're going to see a lot more of that as you load up Great Plains 8.0, Navision 4.0, and the other products that are coming out in the next couple of months. Satya?
Okay, great. Thanks, Matt. So hopefully you got a feel for the direction we're going with Great Plains in this case, along both with the rich interface as well as the web interface, or the rich client interface as well as the portal, in terms of driving it towards becoming more roles-based, more task-centric, as well as bridging the structured and unstructured world. So Matt showed Great Plains, but we're sort of taking the same approach with Navision. So when you look at Navision 4.0, you'll see a lot of those same advances. But at the same time, we're being very, very cognizant of the fact that there are differences in the types of users. There's cognizant of the fact that there are differences even in some technology in these products. So we're not going to just try and simulate the same thing across these product lines, but generally from a theme perspective, that's the direction we're taking. The next piece I wanted to talk about, the next design pillar I want to talk about is the business intelligence, or the insightful design pillar. There are two ways to look at business intelligence. The first is to say it's about operating on historical data. This is really what most of us deal with on a day-to-day basis. Most of our customers tell us we have a long ways to go even in sort of really making our products better in this space, which is how do I do better reports? How do I do better queries? And when people talk about better reports and better queries, they're fundamentally pointing to the complexity of our data model. So any one of our ERP applications has anywhere between 1,500 to 2,000 tables. We look at that and say, hey, all the data that you ever need and all the views is all there. Just use SQL. But that's not what the end user can deal with. They want to be able to navigate the object model in a way that it makes sense for them. They want to be able to go from a customer to a salesperson to a commission, like how Matt was sort of going through the object model around Great Plains. So that's one of the first places where we really need to help end users find, analyze, and react to data that they want. The second piece is, in small and medium-sized businesses in particular, you don't have lots of analysts. You don't have people who are just looking ex post on a lot of reports or on a lot of data to say, well, how do we analyze our business? A lot of them are operational folks, so they want to be able to be notified about things that have gone wrong or things that may go wrong if not taken care of. So exception handling is a critical piece. And so therefore, building notifications in, building event systems in is an important part of what we need to do in our applications. So that's around what's happening with your historical data. But beyond that, we want to be able to really get to what we call operational BI. So operate on effectively your OLTP data. And for example, when an exception happens, it obviously doesn't happen in vacuum. You need to be able to correlate it back to the process which perhaps caused it, or the issue, where in the process or where in the workflow did this exception happen, and for you to be able to really traverse that process graph to be able to get to a better sense for how you could perhaps change your processes to handle these kinds of exceptions. And you know, the ultimate sort of holy grail on this one would be to be able to really give advice and really assist change by being able to sort of synthesize what went wrong, synthesize all of the data, and then come back with recommendations on change that you may want to take action on from a process perspective. So that's what the direction in terms of how we want to make our applications insightful. And so to give you a feel for, again, some proof points that are in our products in the upcoming releases, Navision 4.0 is one of our products that's going to be coming out in the next quarter or so, wherein we've done a lot of work with BI. We've done sort of the work around really cubes and generating cubes off of our data model and building interfaces on top of it, both on the Excel side as well as on the web side, and as well as building a rich client to make the navigation of the object model much more easier. So that's one thing that we've done. We've also done some applications on top of the SQL, or rather we built an application on top of the SQL notification engine to help with this business notifications concept. What actually Matt was showing in the previous demo was a lot of BI, because after all, the business portal is helping you navigate the Great Plains object model, help you do queries against it, and then really mix and match parts between Office and MBS to be able to create these composite views of data. So we've done a lot of work around, I would say, basically navigating the object model and taking advantage of SQL technology as well as Excel, as well as the business notifications area. And in order to really give you a little bit of a sense for this, I wanted to invite up on stage Michael Rosenon, who is a part of the Navision team, to show us some of the work we've done on the Navision 4.0 release.
Thank you.
Come.
Okay. Business analytics. That's the tool I'm going to be talking about. That's a tool we have built in relation to Navision, and it's running on top of SQL Server Analysis Services. This is really the tool for the people. It's not for the analyst. It's not for the technical staff sitting in the back room. It's for most of us, the regular people who needs to be notified or make analysis on a daily basis. The view I'm going to be showing you here, because we have a number of views out of the box, because it's not just a GL tool. It's for the whole company, as I said. It's for supply chains, CRM, finance, project, sales. And let's look at sales. I'm going to look at the profit view. Profit is always interesting. This is a standard view out of the box showing what the CEO might need. Where do I have my trade going on? What is my profit, including credit memos and so on, over time, and maybe split out on customers. I can split the globe if that's what I want to do. I can change it into a map. I can put it back. I can even zoom in. I think that's really funny. But this probably gives me the best view because that's where most of my customers are. But it's more than just spinning the globe. It's the fact that you can actually change this window into represent whatever you want. You can take a layout of your factory floor to track idle time on machines and find bottlenecks. It could be your warehouse to find out, is there some inventory who's never get turned over? It could be your sales team, put a dot in their forehead, it goes red, out they go. Whatever you want to do with this little window. That's just one window. I can move my mouse over here and see in Great Britain my current profit is about £21,000. If I select this window, or this item here, the other windows adjust to show these are the numbers only for Great Britain. So this is my development over time. I can then, based on linear regression, get a trend and say, oh, this is how, all else being equal, it would develop. Nothing is ever equal in business, but it's a good hint. If I were to drill further, or select further, I would then select here, and now I can see the customers that I sold to in Great Britain in the fourth quarter of year 2000. So it's a way to drill in and get that information automatically. But that was kind of like a CEO getting an overview. What if I was a salesperson? This view, I mean, spinning the globe and get a global overview, doesn't really tell me what customers did I sell to as a partner or salesperson, or what items did I sell to. So I might want to add a new table in here, and all I have to do is add a new cross table, drag it down here. And I said I would like to look at items, so let's find items over here. Take item description, double click, salesperson, double click, profits, and profit percentage. And then I have a perfectly good graph showing me the different numbers that John Roberts sold for. Where did Peter Shadow sell? So if I select Peter Shadow, I now see he sold to these customers in multiple quarters, but only in the UK. I could even, if that's what I want, put up a notification saying that, let's see, something goes wrong in here. If my profit, including my profit percentage, drops under significantly below average, I want to have a notification. I can get a title on it. I can put an email address on it. I could run and check every day, every month, every week, every whatever. And then that's what I want. So I'm just going to add this one here and say test, if I can spell, t@t.com, apply agent. And at any given time, I can always look and see what notifications that I have set up. And if I don't like to do this in the rich client, we also have a web view that is exactly the same as the rich client, a bit more simplified. But again, you don't download anything, you don't do anything, you can log in. And because I am doing this server-based, any changes that I make, if I save it, shows up on the web automatically.
Okay, great.
So for anybody, that's the tool we have here.
Okay, great. Thanks, Michael. It's the combination of actually what you saw with Great Plains as well as this sort of gives you a direction or gives you a feel for where we're going with overall business intelligence, both with helping you do queries, navigate through the object model, actually even do reports off of the object model, and then even do notifications. We were also experimenting to some degree, quite honestly, in terms of different technologies. For example, we have a rich client and a portal here just for business analytics. There was more of a casual user interface with the WSS and a lot more of the bridging of views between Office parts and our parts. So eventually, we will bring these technologies as well as views together once we get a better feel for what works. Because if you take any of our customer surveys, this is the #1 request people have, which is help me get to my data, help me do reporting off of my data, and notify me about exceptions. And when they say that, it seems simple, but there isn't. It's all about the complexity of the object model and then helping end users navigate it and get the most out of it. Switching back to the slides, the next design pillar I wanted to talk about is connected. Now, in some sense, I'm going to define connected perhaps a little narrowly in the context of business applications. I'm going to talk specifically about how do you take business applications that you've deployed and the business processes that are embodied within it and connecting them with your suppliers and partners or distributors. Because that's one of the fundamental challenges of business to business. That's a place where customers, especially in the small and medium-sized business side, may not be controlling their own destiny, i.e. they're being forced to comply with somebody else who's probably a larger business and their trading practices. So in many cases, a lot of the cost, a lot of the expense, a lot of the complexity is something that they have to deal with but may not be completely in control. And it's not a symmetric problem as well, which is there's no such thing as when you say let's enable supplier connections. It's not as if you can make assumptions about what technology or what applications all your suppliers are using. That's, fundamentally in a business-to-business scenario, you pretty much don't control the nodes. And therefore, you need to have a deployment that can actually work across a variety of different deployment configurations. The other thing, which is perhaps a very fascinating sort of realization for us, at least in our research, was when we talk about EDI or when we talk about XML-based data interchange between companies, it sounds like, wow, that's very efficient. You know, transactions are going from one system in my company to my supplier or my distributor, and everything is basically automated. But it turns out that for every EDI transaction, for example, there are at least 5 or 6 other messages that are flowing between the customer and yourselves as the business, or between the supplier and yourself as the business. And these are happening actually in fax machines or in telephone calls or in email. And so then all that information, in fact, a lot of changes to an EDI message that you sent perhaps is being captured in those faxes or in those emails. But there is no correlation between that information exchange that is happening more on an ad hoc basis and the transactional piece that has been automated. So bridging those two becomes very critical as well to the work of how these automated transaction flows occur. So one of the things that we've really done at the basis where we've innovated on in this context is something called the Microsoft Business Network. Microsoft Business Network today is available with integration to Great Plains. It'll be shortly available with other product lines of ours. And the idea here, just to sort of illustrate this, I think it's best to do it by an example. Mikimoto is one of our Great Plains customers. They deployed Great Plains. And they wanted to automate the purchase order flow with their customers, or in this case, who happen to be independent jewelers, as well as some large jewelers like Nordstrom's. So they wanted to really make the process of that flow much more streamlined. And you can think about the challenges. You have you have Nordstrom's on one end. Nordstrom's is an EDI customer of Mikimoto, so they wanted to deal with them on an EDI transactional flow. And then on the other end, you have some customers who are in fact using one of our other solutions, the retail management point-of-sale solution. So you have a very small customer or a small jeweler who's using a point-of-sale and wants to originate the purchase order from that particular point-of-sale. And then you have others who may not even have a business applications from us, or for that matter, no business application, and they just want to use Office. So what Mikimoto, along with the combination of Business Network, really allows us to do is to take the sales order process in Great Plains and extend it such that you can send out a price list, get back a purchase order, send an acknowledgement, send an advance ship notice to either an EDI customer or a customer just using Office, or a customer who's just got a point of sale that we have integrated with. So that is kind of what my Business Network does, and does that without introducing the complexity on both sides of the equation. Because for Mikimoto, trying to do a bunch of EDI integrations doesn't make sense, so we are enabling a bunch of EDI gateways as part of the network. Dealing with basically Office clients and doing mappings to the different types of XML schemas that they may want it in. That's also being done on the network. So that's the complexity of deployment, the complexity of connectivity is what we offer as more of a managed web service. And that helps us really deal with the asymmetry of B2B. We're learning a lot, and in fact, one of the interesting things is now that we've sort of automated or worked with Mikimoto, the next jewelry hub and the next sort of spoke of a jeweler, of a manufacturer in the case of jewelry, will have that much of an easier time getting up on the network. So it's got a huge effect in terms of the number of people who can take advantage of one deployment. So that's on connected. And we have lots of examples. In fact, one of the things that I should stress is it's all good to sort of talk about partner connectivity and talk about business network, but even the base level integration frameworks. I mean, somebody in the beginning of the talk mentioned, hey, how about integration in the SDKs you have? We have a long way to go here in terms of really making our APIs because it's robust enough and simple enough, and the tool set support around them good, so that you can really overcome these challenges of integration. And that's the direction there is the web services framework that we are going to sort of adopt across our products. and then easy exchange of information. I talked about what we've done with Business Network in Great Plains, but we have these things called the Commerce Gateway and embedded BizTalk within Exapta and Navision that allows you to do similar things more on a peer-to-peer basis. And then correlating all of the work back, all the work that is happening in the ad hoc world. So when I talked about those 5 messages that go with EDI or faxes or what have you, how do you relate that back to transactions? And so one of the things we did on the business network side is to again build an Outlook client which helps you navigate back to the transactions as well. So that's something that we've done on the connected pillar. And moving to sort of the next design pillar of ours, and as I said earlier in the talk, that this is perhaps the most challenging as well as perhaps the most unique thing for business applications. And this is the place where we will have a lot of focus along with our cohorts in our developer division to really help overcome this fundamental challenge of how do you build business applications that will change and change gracefully, if you will, over time, such that the costs of you doing an upgrade or change on an ongoing basis just don't exponentially grow. This graph kind of shows, what happens is you deploy a business application. Your goal is to be able to keep making changes on whenever you need to make the changes. But what happens today is the more changes you make, the tougher it is to upgrade. I mean, we face this from release to release. We provide some tools which are never sufficient. But the idea is, how can you build a system that can actually be both good at change as well as at upgradability? Because otherwise, today you actually have a way to make up business applications very easy to upgrade. And the way you do it is by basically black boxing all of the features and not allowing change. But that's not good enough because there's no such thing as one business application that will meet all needs. So that's the challenge from an adaptive process pillar perspective. We have some early examples of this. One is the way to deal with change, and first of all, is to recognize where does change happen. Change happens in data, so you want to add fields. Change happens in business logic. So once you've added some extensions to your data model, you want to be able to modify business logic that takes advantage of it. Then you want to change forms around it. You want to be able to change reports. And you want to be able to change processes, because that's what fundamentally business applications are constructed of or made up of. And the way to do that is to really have a model-driven or a metadata-driven development environment. Our Exapta product line today has a pretty sophisticated metadata development environment. It's one of the best out there. And we're going to continuously improve that to make this process of development on change very productive and rapid. Microsoft CRM also has certain workflows built in. We have a workflow designer. That's something that we want to kind of push forward in line with some of the workflow technology advancements in Microsoft so that we can truly make because workflows effectively are a way to make this process of change much more manageable. So if you have actually pushed something which is today written in a lot of code into a workflow that is described declaratively, and you can have a designer on top of it, you can make the changes at the design level or at the model level and have the system really take that change. So basically, it's all about creating a development environment which is much more model-driven to be able to deal with change is point number one. We have some early evidence of this, if you will, on Exapta as well as in CRM. The second point is this just for developers, or can we truly start surfacing the models in such a way such that the end user can impact change? Our dream, of course, here is to sort of really build ERP, CRM, and supply chain systems which are fully model-driven, where the models can actually be even understood by end users, and they can make process changes without necessarily getting into a development surface. There is multiple steps we will have to take, but some early examples of that would be, can we introduce, for example, in the production area of Navision or Exapta, some visual tools that will allow you to, say, change the production plan. So you'll actually see in the next release of Navision where we have some graphical ways of making process changes. At this point, it's sort of a little more configured as opposed to sort of really exposing the full model behind production. But that's an attempt to understand what level of models can be exposed even to end users to be able to make these changes. But to give you a sense for where we are with the development environments here, I wanted to bring up Ryan Cole from the Exapta team to sort of show us the Exapta metadata-driven development and sort of give us a little bit of a feel for what this may mean.
Great, thank you. To do this, I'm going to go through just through a little scenario. And the scenario basically is we have a customer. The customer continues to grow, and external business pressures continue to force change upon that business. It needs to adapt to still be competitive out there in the market. So with that little scenario, I'm going to open up Microsoft Business Solutions Exapta. And basically, the scenario, we want to add a couple new attributes that we want to capture about our customers. So it would be nice if we were able to create a new field, have that new field show up on all of our forms and our reports throughout the business application that we could have some user interaction with. And as ERP solutions grow, there's not just one typical interface. As we've seen, we had business portals. We have all types of enterprise application integration. And we want to make that available throughout the entire ERP solution. So we're going to do a little example. We're going to go inside of our integrated development environment, and I've already added a new field to the customer table, and the field is a size field. Very easy. We did that inside of Exapta. But we want to get it out to the interface, so we have groupings throughout Exapta. They're called field groups. So I can simply drag my new field over into existing field groups, do a quick save, now the next time the customer comes back to the customer card, they can see that that new field's there and available. And not only through the standard client-server type of interface, but also if they wanted to come in. For instance, we had some customer self-service. They wanted to come in through our enterprise portal. They could actually view that account and see that that field is available there now. Not only just available to see, but they could actually modify and change this. They can see that it's changed there. And then, of course, we'd want it to also be changed here to capture that information. Now, we can take that one step further. That's just making a field available and showing up. But let's say we want some business logic to come into place here, too. So we can do that in Exapta as well. We're just going to modify an existing object. And here I'm just going to change our business logic. This is X++. And I've just added some logic here that's basically going to monitor that field. If that field has been changed, we want to round it to the nearest 100. We don't care exactly how many customers, but we'd like to know in general. And throw up a little message here. So now that we've done this, regardless of if the user comes through the Windows interface, we see that it's been rounded and that business logic's been run. But also, without doing anything else, the next time a user would come in and log in, you'll see that same exact business logic's been run. We didn't have to do anything else.
Got it.
Went through it. So that's the example.
Okay, great. Thank you. So that was a pretty fast demo of showing how you can use a metadata-driven development environment to do simple things. I mean, add a field and have it propagate both your rich client as well as your thin client, add some business logic. The reason why I want to show that to you is if you take that AOT or the application object tree as you showed it, it had basically your data and your tables, it had all your classes. Think about that being extended to include all of your workflows and processes such that you can truly traverse the entire application structure and have your changes. Because we could have gone on that demo and showed reports and more forms driven off of metadata. But really where we want to go is to be able to even get the same level of flexibility that you today perhaps have around forms, around objects, around tables, to be coming through even in the form side. And some early evidence of that actually you'll see in CRM and the workflow designer for it. But it's really the coming together that is going to be the breakthrough. So then I wanted to sort of move to the last design pillar, which at some level is, where all of this has to come together, because it's all fine to really add a lot of interesting user interfaces. It's great to sort of build a lot of BI capabilities. It's great to sort of have a metadata-driven development environment and what have you. But at the end of the day, all of that has to add up in such a way that the total cost of ownership for the customer on an ongoing basis is where it should be, so that the customer actually believes in these applications and wants to buy more of these applications and what have you. So therefore, there is a cycle, a life cycle, if you will, and this life cycle is not just, it starts really when a customer is looking for the first time to investigate the purchase, and then really is part, and also goes all the way into maintenance and upgrade and what have you. So this is something that we are really kind of building into our products, both at the methodology level as well as into the technology. So to give you some examples of this, at the first point of level, in order to really facilitate investigation, whether this is the right product for you or what level of customization you want to do, we're investing in methodologies. We have some. A lot of our partners have built some great methodologies by vertical and by industry that works for them. So therefore, that's an area where we believe that we will have to put a lot more focus on, and we are across all our product lines. The second area is perhaps one of the direct fallouts of this integrated innovation, which is to make products from Microsoft work well with each other, both at the setup and configuration level. And one of the demos that we'll show you shortly is an example of the mobility client and CRM, where we've effectively done a no-click install on top of Compact Framework and Pocket PC for an SFA client for CRM. So that's one of the areas I think you'll see us do work with, even Small Business Server, with Exchange, with AD, and what have you, is to really get our application to become, or our applications that much more easier to configure and install. And then the last one is this planning and configuration and customization. And we talked about methodology, but can we even take a step further and really say, well, because whenever we talk about configuration, there is simple stuff like relations between all your tables or your data model that need to be set up. Every time you, for example, are configuring Navision for a furniture manufacturer, there is a set of work that you do at the screen level, at the data model level, at the workflow level. Can we really capture all of that metadata in some form of questionnaires, in some form of wizards that can then be used to set up Navision or Great Plains? And that's something that we are doing with Navision 4.0. We will release simple metadata tools, which actually happen to be Excel spreadsheets that you can enter data in, and then we bring them up in Navision to be able to really help set up Navision for a particular industry or a particular configuration. So we're going to learn from that and really try and bring both prescriptive methodologies and these configuration tools or templates together to speed up the process of configuring and deploying business applications. To give you a little bit of a feel for specifically the setup area and the TCO implications of that, I wanted to bring up Tanya Schwartz from our CRM team to show us the CRM mobility client and some of the work there.
Thank you. Hi. PDAs are cool. You see people sitting in Starbucks, checking email, checking their calendar, playing solitaire. But it's time to start using these for mobile business applications. An example of this is our own CRM mobile application. Today, Microsoft CRM can automate your customer strategy to maximize the efficiency of your sales, customer service, and marketing functions. CRM Mobile allows your road warriors to close business while on the road without napkins, address books, or making calls to the office.
Do you want to switch to?
Yeah, let's go to. Satya mentioned that Microsoft is making efforts in TCO and total cost of ownership to reduce the costs and make things a lot easier to use. I have here an SD card. This is the same card that is used today.
Do you know which button do I need to press on this one?
It was 1-1.
Challenged.
Techno.
Easy to install, but tough to project, yeah. Do you know?
Yeah, it was supposed to be just 1-1.
It's so easy that you can't even see it, yeah.
I can't help it.
Do you know if there's any?
I'm looking. It's supposed to be there.
Just 1-1.
Let's try this again. Does this come back? Does it show you anything? Is this better?
Yeah, we can get back.
Well, if you could all just gather around.
I could probably.
You may. So we'll do the following. We'll just talk through
I'll talk
the
first.
demo. Imagine, if you will. That's fine. Just basically talk through the demo.
So I have here with me an SD card. This is the same card that's used in cameras today, phones, pocket PCs. I set it up earlier with Microsoft CRM Mobile using our Mobile Deployment Manager. Now, this is an administrator's tool that allows administrators to create packages of applications and settings to be deployed onto mobile devices. Once a salesperson receives this SD card, all they have to do is pop it into the device, and everything is set up, configured, and set up correctly and installed. So for those in the front row.
There you go.
Looks like solitaire.
That too.
If it's easy to do, then why do it? If it's difficult to do, then why do it? So in order to run CRM Mobile for the first time, the device must be registered with the system. So for the purpose of time for this demo, I have here a device that's already been registered, but there's no data on it.
Okay.
I don't know how many can see it, but the concept that I'd like to illustrate is that there's a notion of subscriptions in CRM Mobile. So the CRM servers have gigabytes and gigabytes of information, and yet these devices hold what, 32, 128 megs of data? How do you get all of the data on the servers down onto these devices? The solution that we've implemented this is a notion of subscriptions or data filters. We let the user decide what they want and when they want it. I have here subscriptions that I've created for TechEd. So I have TechEd accounts, my TechEd contacts. Next week when I'm in Washington, I can select all Washington-related data. So we put the power in the user and let the user decide what information they want and when they want it. I have here an important activity to call Bill.
I think.
We can all see it.
Yeah, we can see the. You can show it to me. I'll need it.
I'll show Satya.
Okay. What do I see?
We see here a form view with all the information, the activity, all the information that is also part of the CRM forms. If we want to complete this activity, complete the phone call, all we have to do is click on the little phone icon next to the phone number, and the phone call is routed through the radio of the phone. Don't need to go anywhere else. Don't need to leave the CRM application. Everything is done.
And it even placed a phone call.
Hi, Bill. Thank you.
If only we could give everybody a phone. Okay.
Yeah.
So basically, I'll do the close on this one, I guess, at this point.
Great.
Right? We're
Yeah.
pretty much done with the demo. So thank you, Tanya.
Thank you.
The purpose, in fact, one of the things that we've done out of our team is we went through a lot of challenges in the initial stages of both building this application on Compact Framework, as well as really making this, the management framework around this, such that you can really provision these devices in a simple fashion, as you saw, by just putting one of those SD cards. And some of that code will ship as part of our SMS server, making it ubiquitously available for any pocket PC type of device or any thing that uses our WinC operating system. So I think that's good innovation and some of the benefits of this integrated innovation theme. But the general idea here is we can't have the burden of configuring an installation of mobility devices be huge if we are really going to have all the salespeople in a small and medium-sized business use an application like the SFA client for CRM. And so that's a place where we try to make the installation simple. Unfortunately, you couldn't see the installation, but it's pretty cool. The setup actually works by just putting the SD card. So I wanted to wrap up now I don't know how to get rid of, yeah, there you go. I just wanted to wrap up the presentation. We'll get it. Oh, yeah, I got it. We sort of talked about these broad design pillars. We saw them illustrated through examples across our different product lines. We do have multiple product lines, and these product lines to some degree overlap. At the same time, these product lines are all going to move forward with a lot of shared technology, and a lot of that sharing is going to come because of these commonality of design themes. Again, I wanted to stress that it's just not technology in these areas that we are innovating on. There is a complete different space, or rather an area of what are we doing innovative in terms of RFID and supply chain, or what are we doing in terms of interesting things in fund accounting and not-for-profit. So there is a lot of domain-specific functionality that's going to get added to our products that we didn't talk about. But at the end of the day, that is as important as any of these more general themes, if you will, that are driving our product lines. We have a very rich set of product releases. This year is, in fact, one of probably the richest product release years. We have Great Plains 8.0. We have Navision 4.0. We have Solomon 6.0. We also have Exapta coming in the beginning of first half of next calendar year. And then the general rhythm that we are going to have is approximately 18 to 24 months between each one of our major releases. And for each one of these releases, we will take advantage of the platform advances. So for example, today we are exploiting Office 2003, .NET, WSS. The next wave, we will take a look at Yukon and VidB and the work there. And then eventually, in the long-haul time frame, you'll see us innovate a lot on the process side that I talked about. So that's just generally the product timeline. We'll also get a little more predictable in terms of how we bring these innovations along with the Microsoft waves going forward. So I wanted to end first by saying that we have 22 breakout sessions. As I said, we also have a lot of hands-on lab areas where you can get a real feel for each of these product lines. I also wanted to open up and say any feedback you have. Of course, there are folks from our team here, but also you can send me email. It's Satya N. It's S-A-T-Y-A-N. It is not Satan, but it's Satya N. I've got a couple of emails like that before. So send me feedback, anything in terms of, hey, the product line, you have looked at your hands-on lab, and these features can be better. Any feedback, any suggestions is always welcome. So thank you very much, and have a great TechEd.